So today we are dealing with more about how journaling can help you in your business. Hey love, you're listening to the Mums in Biz Show and I'm Nick Tuering. Every week I bring you the unvarnished version of what it means to be a mum running a brilliant business, what you need to be doing to get it to where you want it to be, and a healthy dose of how to get the heck out of your own way. Let's dive in. Hello, welcome to the Mums in Biz Show. We are on episode 5 this week, which is pretty exciting. So today we are dealing with a request that has come directly from my tribe. So I'm super excited about this. We were having, somebody posted a question the other week and they wanted to know whether people were journaling in their business. And there was such an interesting discussion that came from that and a request for us to discuss it a little bit more. So I've got some great resources to share with you today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about how journaling can help you in your business. So hands up if you are a mum and you feel like sometimes when you have small children, it can be a little bit thankless and frustrating because we're trying to corral the toddler. If you are anything like me, then that is going to be a heck yeah. I adore my girls, but some days, and because we really, really love them, sometimes the hard work days can be even harder. They need lots of time and care, and they don't always give back a heck of a lot of love. My youngest has really moved into that stage where she is all about giving us back the love and telling us how much she loves us, and that is amazing. And this parallel between that and being mums in business and raising our businesses, which frankly some days feel a lot more like a difficult toddler than they do a thriving success, really, really came out strongly to me. And so if you continue to invest your time and energy into raising it, just know that one day it will start to give back to you. So how badly do you want to feel that euphoric breakthrough moment where you do start to meet your income goals and those goals that you're constantly striving for that you never seem to be able to hit? How would it feel to be able to get there sooner? So what I wanted to do was share with you my tips around how you can do that. And that's what the Raising Your Business Masterclass is all about. Let's dive into this week's episode. Hands up if you're a journaler from way back, let me know. Maybe you love the idea of it, but you don't know why you would dedicate time to it. Why the heck would you even try and find time to do journaling when we are busy mums who are constantly running from thing to thing? Or are you in the no way, no how, that is not something that I am interested in, bucket of people? Because I have been there at various times. I love the idea of journaling, but I wasn't so great at the execution until I found a way that made it work for me. So I thought what we could share today, I want to talk about what journaling is and why it can be really powerful. And I want to give you some ideas around not only why it can be powerful for your business, but also why it can be super impactful for your health. There is scientific research that I was fascinated to find out about when I was researching for this episode. And then I am going to give you some tips around how you can start to incorporate this into your business. So let's get into it. So in practice, journaling can be whatever you want it to be. But the reason that it can be so transformational is that it's like a gateway to help you to understand more about yourself. So it is something where you can record your life. You can experience all manner of different emotions and uncover parts of yourself that you didn't know were there. We're very, very good at hiding things from ourselves. And it can be a profound way to uncover resistance. And I've talked about resistance and limiting beliefs quite a lot. And so really getting into identifying those blocks that are holding you back. And when you get really good at it, you can learn journaling or learn how to use journaling to start to actually be really honest with yourself. Because I don't know whether you have realized it yet. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but we spend an awful lot of time not being honest with ourselves. And so journaling can be super powerful. At its best, it can allow you to really get to know yourself, to dream, to create a vision for where you want to be, to understand why you're not already there, and to get super honest about your beliefs and what's important to you. And we know that affirmations work. They work for a reason. They work because they enable us to change our innate thought patterns and beliefs. And journaling is a way to work through changing some of our thought patterns and beliefs and really understanding things about ourselves. Another way to consider whether allowing journaling a place in your daily life is to think about some of those health benefits that I talked about. But there is scientific research that shows that particularly as a tool around stress and anxiety management, journaling can decrease the symptoms of asthma, arthritis, and other health conditions, because we often internalize a lot of emotions around a particular situation in our lives, and that has to come out, that energy has to come out in some way, and often it manifests in a stress-related response in our bodies. And you only have to think about, so I get a lot of tension in my shoulders and neck, and when I'm in a situation where I am internalizing all of the pressure that I'm feeling, I will find that in a pretty short amount of time, all of the muscles up my back will start to tense up, because that's how I'm holding myself. I'm breathing more shallowly. We know how stress can impact upon our bodies, and being able to write out how you are feeling helps you to release those emotions. It improves your cognitive functioning. That kind of goes without saying. When you're all up in your head about a situation and you can actually get that out, if it's not through talking to a person, it can be through journaling, that can significantly improve the way that your mind is working. Even something as simple as needing to write a list of things to get all of the to-dos out of your head so that you can think straight is an example of how that works. It actually also strengthens your immune system and can prevent a host of different illnesses within your body, and that relates to the stress-related response that I was talking about before. And so in that way, it helps to counteract many of the negative impacts of stress. So it's a therapeutic and a creative outlet that we often don't allow ourselves to take. I don't know about you, but sometimes my most creative outlet is the colouring in that I did with my 4-year-old on the weekend. And that's not always enough. It can be, there's a reason that creativity as a mindfulness activity is such a strong thing right now. Some of us need to have those types of ways of expressing ourselves and harnessing that energy and really focusing our mind. And journaling can be done in so many different ways to help you with that. So let me ask you a couple of questions then, particularly if you're in that no way, no how, or yeah, it sounds lovely and I like looking at the pictures, but I don't know why I would make time for this in my world. Let me ask you some questions. When was the last time that you ignored a little voice in your head that told you didn't want to really be doing the thing that you're saying yes to, but you did it anyway? When was the last time that you put aside something that was really important to you, big or small, to solve a problem or fill a need for somebody else? When was the last time you really allowed yourself to dream about what you would love life to be like? Really allowed yourself, not just those, half-hearted thoughts that we use to beat ourselves up with. When was the last time you allowed yourself the space to work through a stress or a negative emotion rather than writing it out so it wasn't bothering you anymore? So let me be really clear about that one. I do this too, and writing it out until it's not bothering you anymore doesn't mean you worked through it. It just means you ignored it long enough that it wasn't the most pressing thing in your mind anymore. And I could go on. I'm not going to. But all of these things are examples of where doing a journal exercise of some description can help you. It doesn't mean that you change the thing. So you might still put aside something that's important to you because you're choosing to fill someone else's need. Choice is the important word there. It's about making conscious choices. And I was talking to a client this morning around the consciousness of choice. And it was really fascinating discussion. And conscious choice is something that I work through quite a lot in my program, Conflicted to Confident. And I think what's important is giving ourselves the space to be able to acknowledge the choice that we're making. So how can you start to incorporate journaling into your life and routine? Some people have found that allowing themselves the ability to write things out and to spend the time really imagining, and the actual act of physically writing is really, really powerful. And doing that can help you to realize where it is you want to be going and strengthen your commitment to do the things you need to do to get there. So if you're going to start to incorporate journaling into your life and into your routine, you need to find a way that actually works for you. I'm the first person to say, don't commit yourself to a really elaborate way of doing something if it's very, very new to you, or if it's not something that is super important right now and you're going to have to prioritize it over other things. But what you can do is make little tiny steps. And as you find that thing works for you, then you will find that you will make more time to fit it in. We are also all really different. Some people like to write in longhand. Some people like to stick to planning and reflection. Some people like to talk about gratitude. So what I'm going to do now, I'm not trying to be an expert on journaling, but what I want you to consider is how it can make a difference for you and your mindset and your headspace, and how you can get to where you want to in your business. And I'm going to, all right, so let's talk about some different types of journaling. There's visual journaling. Some people love to draw. Some people love to, you can cut things out. You can create a physical vision board. You can bring to life the things that are important to you through images. Pen to paper reflection, that could look like having a dedicated book for it. Some people like to do it freehand on random bits of paper whenever it comes up, but pen to paper reflection in some way, shape or form. Bullet journaling. If you haven't heard of bullet journaling, then you've probably been living under a rock. Even I've heard of it, and I am notorious for living under a rock. Now, I am not a bullet journaler, but you can. Gratitude journaling. This is a fabulous exercise. Actually, we're not actually doing it in a written way, but we've just started doing gratitude reflections with our daughters at the end of the day and helping them understand what gratitude is and what it is to feel thankful about something. And it's so fascinating going through an exercise like that with a small child, because sometimes you have to even teach them what that feels like. When we first introduced it, my eldest said, well, I don't have anything to thank you for right now, Daddy. We had to kind of explain to her, what it meant to be grateful for something that had happened in your day. So gratitude journaling can be really, really powerful. It can shift your mindset around the things that have happened. And whenever you have a situation that you feel really yuck about, what I find is really valuable is sitting down and having a moment of gratitude around it. To say, well, what do I have to be grateful around that situation? Perhaps you've learned something. Perhaps you have created an opportunity for another discussion with someone. Perhaps it has helped you be more grateful for the other things in your life. It changes your headspace and really shifts how you go into those next situations. Coincidence journaling. Now, this is not one that I had heard about, but when I was researching for the show, that came up. And so that's where there are people who don't believe in coincidences. They believe very firmly that everything happens for a reason. And so going through that exercise of identifying those things in your life and apportioning reason and looking at how the lines and connections that weave through our interactions and our lives and our businesses can be super powerful and can help you make different choices and take different actions. And then vision journaling, which is something that Incited, that's the blog that I'm going to share with you, 5 reasons why you should create a vision journal. And so that is where you bring to life your vision for your ideal life. And I personally believe that's incredibly powerful for creating that solid connection with your business and with your why, so that you have that innate motivation to do what it takes to make your business become a reality, to make those dreams and the things that you need your business to achieve come to life, so that you can enable what it is you're working towards. So some of the reasons that you might go into journaling, as I've mentioned, some things like vision making and dreaming. Some people actually find it really hard to sit down and do that and think about it. And so if you are, create a Pinterest board or grab some magazines and cut things out. As you start to, without thinking too much about it, grab the things that you love and that really speak to you and call to you, you can start to bring to life your vision without even really knowing what it is. Daydreaming is a very, very powerful thing to engage in, as long as you don't engage in it all the time and allow that to become your mechanism for resistance and not doing the things that need to be done. Planning and goal setting. So this is one thing that I do use journaling for quite a lot. In fact, I sat down and did it last night. And I sit down, I use a Leaders in Heels journal for this exercise. And I love doing their monthly reflections. And so I sit down and I go back through how I think the last month went. What are some of my reflections around that? What have I learned? What went well? What didn't go well? What do I want to change? And then I sit down and I go, okay, what do I want to achieve? What are my dreams for this month? What are the things that are really important? And how am I going to make that happen? What am I going to focus on? So for me, health is a massive focus this month. I have not been prioritizing my health. And that is something that is really important to me to change, as well as doing what it's going to take to hit my goals in my business. And so planning and goal setting, journaling can be a great way of doing that. And then for me, that then flows into each day. I write out what my top 3 priorities are for today. And however my day unfolds, whenever I come back to, okay, I've got time to start on something new now, I always start with the next priority on the list, so that I know that the top 3 things always get done. That has actually been massively game-changing for me this year. Emotional journeys. Sometimes it's not possible to get out of your head enough to do the processing that is needed around a particular thing that might have been happening to you or happening in your life or happening around you. And sometimes it's not a thing that has happened to us directly, but it has a significant impact. I was talking to a coachee of mine the other day, and she has a friend who has just lost a very, very close friend to suicide. And that is having a massive impact on her. And she's been journaling to work through some of that, because she's really wanting to explore why she's experiencing the emotions that she's feeling. And she can't articulate it. Sometimes we can't articulate it, but if you can just let yourself write and freehand and just kind of let things out and do it in a way that sometimes we judge ourselves for the things that we think and we say and we need to process, and journaling is a great way for you to do that without judgment and just let yourself say the things that you feel like you shouldn't be saying. Discipline and habits. A couple of little habits like the planning stuff, or giving yourself half an hour of quiet time, getting up in the morning and making a cup of tea and sitting in the quiet and just writing out whatever comes to mind. Starting to create some habits about mindfulness and presence is a massive impact and a really important or impactful way to use journaling in your business. You might want to explore new ideas. Sometimes when I'm trying to figure out what a new thing in my business is going to look like, I just write freehand for a while. I'm not a diligent sit down and write out my day type of journaler. I use it as it fits with what I want to do. I use it for exploration, for vision making. I use it for planning. If I have an interaction that I have to have, which is really likely to be emotionally charged, then I will often prepare by writing out about that and what I think my reactions are going to be, what I'm worried about, so that I can be more present in the moment of the conversation rather than worrying about how it's going to go. Battling resistance and limiting beliefs, we use, so in Conflicted to Confident as an example, every time we're working through something in a mindset process, I've got you journaling that out. I've got you answering questions and processing and pulling out important bits and exploring those a bit deeper, identifying what your beliefs are about things. You can do all of that through this exercise of journaling. And obviously affirmations and mindset, I mentioned that already. I think affirmations are really important. I have had some really strong examples for myself, and I know that some of the ladies that I've spoken to as well have found massive change in their headspace and their mindset around using affirmations to change their beliefs about themselves and how they think about things. So there you have it. That's my share on journaling today. It's such a massive area. There are people who have their whole business focused around journaling. And what I've talked about is really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the power and possibility of journaling for you and your business. And I think if I can encourage you just to start small and find a way of journaling that works for you, don't allow it to be one more thing that you feel guilty for not doing right. There are 1,000 different ways that you can incorporate journaling into your daily, weekly, monthly habits. I think what's important is that you start with something small and you get the discipline around it and you build it into your habits, and then you expand from there in a way that works for you. Some of it will really resonate for you and some of it will just not feel like it's going to have an impact. And I think you need to honor those things about yourself in your journaling journey. I am by no means a journaling guru. And that's a wrap for today's episode. If you enjoy listening to the Mums in Biz show, I would love for you to leave us a review on iTunes and be sure to post a snap of you enjoying the show on Instagram and tag me at nicole.tuerick. You can also join in the conversation with me in the Mums in Biz tribe on Facebook. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Mums in Biz show.